Here's what we're going to be making today. A bejeweled hummingbird greeting card. Here are the supplies I'm going to be working with. They consist of some beautiful decorative buttons, a bunch of gemstones, Elmer's glitter glue, some regular buttons, and some sparkly paper stuff. Here's the outline of the bird. I printed several in case I mess up. I took one of my templates and I cut it out into 2 pieces so I can trace each piece independently. Next, I used a Sharpie to trace out the hummingbird onto the sparkly paper. After I traced it out, I cut it out and I traced it backwards, so when you turn it over, you don't see the Sharpie lines. I used the Elmer's glitter glue to run along the beak. The end will get cut off. I've got these decorative buttons, but I want to lay them flat, so you have to cut the loop off. It's pretty easy to cut off using a pair of sharp craft scissors. I have another one of my printed templates, and I'm going to start laying out the design. I have the decorative buttons, the little regular buttons, the big buttons, and the gemstones, which will act as space fillers. Here, I'm just taking the pieces and laying out the design. Here's the rough outline of the body design. Obviously, I'm going to fix all of the upside down gemstones, but again, this is just the rough outline. Here I have the 2 pieces roughly laid out. Since placing tiny buttons and gemstones is hard, I'm going to use these tools to help me. I'm going to use Eclectic E6000 adhesive. It's a pretty universal glue. Using my tweezers, I'm going to grab the button, bring it to my glue blob, and dab it in a little, and come over to the hummingbird and then place it where I want. Now, I'm just continuing to glue and place the buttons and gemstones where I want. This last button is really large, so I'm going to use hot glue to fasten it into place. And since I don't like getting my glue gun out, I'm just going to use this lighter. I'm just going to use the lighter to heat up the glue. You want it nice and hot. And then touch it to the back of the button. And then just hot glue it into place. Here it is after I've glued all the pieces down. Now I'm ready to attach it to a greeting card. This is the last step. I have my envelope, since it's going to be a greeting card. I'm going to use this blue paper as the base of the card. And I'm going to use this pink to cut out a mat to accent the hummingbird. I used the envelope to measure how big I need the card to be. And I just traced that out on the back. I just need to cut it out, and I'm going to use one of these. This cutter works really easy. You just slide it across, and boom, it's cut off. And then rotate it and do it again. Now I have my properly sized greeting card base, and it just needs folded in half. When you're folding something in half like this, it's all about lining the corners up perfectly. Now that it's folded, I like to take something like a glue stick to run along the fold to really help with the crease. I took my pink paper and cut it out to be just a hair smaller than the front of the card. On the back, I drew some guidelines of where I'm going to cut so that it'll be like a mat or a frame. To cut this out, I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife and a metal ruler, and I'm just going to run the knife down along the lines. I made all the cuts for the frame, and I should be able to just pull this out. Sometimes all of the corners might not be cut all the way, so you just have to take the X-Acto knife and fix it. Now I've gotten my frame cut out, the card base, and the hummingbird. And it'll all get glued on like this. Here's the finished card. It's blank on the inside, but it looks pretty good. I'm definitely happy with it.